All right, so today we're diving into Scroll, this
Huh.
layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum.
Right.
And just going through the articles and notes you sent over,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
it looks like Scroll is really making waves. And I think one of the things that I found particularly interesting was this term zkEVM.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds a little bit
Yeah.
like something out of the science fiction novel.
It does have that kind of futuristic ring to it, doesn't it?
It does.
But it's a pretty clever approach to solving some of Ethereum's
Yeah,
biggest challenges.
for sure.
The zkEVM, which stands for Zero Knowledge Ethereum Virtual Machine,
Okay.
allows Scroll to process those transactions off-chain.
Right.
So that means faster speeds, lower costs.
Okay.
But it still maintains the security
Yeah.
of the Ethereum mainnet.
I'm starting to see why this is a big deal.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of layer 2 solutions out there.
Yeah, there are a lot.
So what makes Scroll stand out?
That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Why should someone choose Scroll over all the others?
Exactly.
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Scroll really focuses on being as compatible with
Okay.
Ethereum as possible.
Got it.
So it's designed to be a bytecode level equivalent, zkEVM.
Okay.
Now, what that basically means is that developers can easily transfer their existing
Okay.
Ethereum applications over to Scroll without having to rewrite.
So less of a learning curve.
Yeah, much less of a learning curve for developers.
Right.
It's like they're speaking the same language.
Okay, so it's like speaking the same language. Got it.
Exactly.
But doesn't that also limit Scroll's ability to introduce new features
Oh,
or really innovate?
yeah.
Could it get stuck playing catch up to Ethereum?
That is a valid concern, and it's definitely a trade-off
Yeah.
that Scroll's developers have considered.
Yeah.
They definitely prioritize compatibility,
Right.
but they're also actively working on ways to enhance Scroll's capabilities
Okay.
and introduce those unique features that you're talking about. And their roadmap actually outlines several upgrades and improvements,
Okay.
including a move towards a more decentralized sequencing process,
Interesting.
which could unlock new possibilities for innovation.
So they are looking ahead
Oh, yeah.
and planning for future development.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Now, you mentioned Scroll processing transactions off-chain.
Yeah.
Can you break down how that actually works?
Sure.
What does Scroll's network architecture actually look like?
All right, so imagine Ethereum as like this bustling city center with everyone trying to get things done at the same time. It
Yeah.
gets really crowded, things slow down, costs go up.
Right, makes sense.
Scroll is like building a super efficient expressway around the city.
Okay,
It has this 3-layer system.
got it.
A sequencing layer that handles the initial ordering and processing of transactions.
Okay,
A proving layer that uses zero-knowledge proofs to kind of guarantee the validity of those transactions.
okay.
And a settlement layer that interacts with the main Ethereum network
Right.
to finalize everything.
Okay, that analogy definitely helps.
Good.
But focusing on that sequencing layer,
Yeah.
isn't that still a potential bottleneck?
It can be.
If one entity controls the sequencing,
Right.
doesn't that go against the whole idea of decentralization?
You're absolutely right to point that out, and that is one of the key challenges that Scroll, and
Right.
frankly, all Layer 2 solutions
Yeah.
are working to address.
Okay.
Right now, Scroll's sequencing process is relatively centralized,
Okay,
but their roadmap includes plans to gradually decentralize it over time.
good.
So they are exploring different approaches, including using distributed validator technology
Okay.
to make that sequencing process more secure and resilient.
So it's a work in progress,
It is.
but they're aware of the issue and
Yeah.
actively working towards a solution.
Very much so.
That's good to hear. Now, let's talk about something that really caught my attention.
Okay.
The traction that Scroll has gained in the DeFi space.
Yeah.
You mentioned close to $800 million in total value locked.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of people putting their trust and their money into Scroll's DeFi ecosystem.
It is a lot of trust.
Okay,
And
great,
it's
great.
not just the amount of capital, but the diversity of projects and applications is also really impressive.
Okay.
Scroll has integrated with some major DeFi protocols,
Right.
like Aave, Compound, and Lido,
Yeah.
which makes it really easy for users to access these popular platforms,
Right.
but on a faster and cheaper network.
Exactly.
They've also seen significant growth in their stablecoin market cap.
Okay.
It's actually surpassing $100 million,
Wow.
which indicates a strong demand for using Scroll for transactions and
Yeah.
other financial activities.
So Scroll is becoming a hub for DeFi activity.
It really is.
But what's driving that growth?
Yeah.
Is it just the speed and low cost?
I think it's a combination of things. things.
Okay.
Obviously, the compatibility with Ethereum is a big draw for
Yes.
both developers and users.
Makes sense.
And strategic partnerships, like the one with EtherFi, are making Scroll more accessible and user-friendly.
Okay.
Remember that Scroll Visa card we were talking about?
Oh, yeah.
That's a game changer in terms of bridging the gap
Yeah.
between DeFi and real-world spending.
Right. That Visa card is a perfect example of how Scroll's partnerships are translating into those tangible benefits.
Absolutely.
For sure. It makes interacting with DeFi much more appealing for the average person.
It really does.
Now, beyond DeFi, Scroll's also making waves with something called on-chain attestations.
Yes.
Now, I have to admit, I had to look that one up.
It's a new one.
Yeah.
It's a good one, though.
So can you explain it in a way
I'll try my best.
that even I can understand?
Okay, so think of it like a digital notary service
Okay.
for the blockchain.
Got it.
It's a way to verify information
Okay.
without revealing the underlying data.
Interesting.
So, for example, imagine being able to prove that you have a college degree without having to share your transcript or personal information.
So it's like a digital stamp of approval.
Exactly.
That's pretty powerful.
It is.
Especially in a world where privacy and security are becoming increasingly important.
Absolutely.
But how does Scroll actually use on-chain attestations?
Well, their Scroll Canvas platform
Okay.
has become the leading platform for EAS attestations.
Interesting.
And it's facilitating a wide range of use cases, from verifying those educational credentials and professional licenses to even enabling things like decentralized voting systems.
Wow, that opens up some really intriguing possibilities.
Yes, it does.
But I'm also curious about the potential downsides.
Yeah.
How does Scroll ensure the accuracy and trustworthiness
That's the key.
of these attestations?
Yeah.
Couldn't someone potentially create fake attestations?
That is a crucial question.
Yeah.
And it really highlights the importance of having these robust security measures and rigorous verification processes in place. So to address this, Scroll has implemented this multi-layered approach, which includes working with trusted institutions and organizations to issue those attestations and using cryptographic techniques to prevent tampering and fraud.
So it sounds like they're taking security very seriously.
They are.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about SCR, Scroll's native token. What role does it play in the ecosystem?
So SCR has a few key functions. The first and foremost is that it's a governance token, which means that holders can vote on proposals related to the protocol's development.
So I have a say in how Scroll evolves.
They do.
But beyond governance, are there any other uses for SCR?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting. The sources mention SCR being used for staking, which could potentially earn holders rewards. And there's also been talk of using SCR for gas-free transactions.
Wow.
And as an incentive mechanism within the ecosystem.
So there's a lot of potential for SCR to gain utility and value.
There is.
As Scroll's ecosystem grows.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, this is all incredibly fascinating.
It is.
But before we get too carried away, let's take a step back and consider the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's important to remember that the blockchain world's constantly evolving. And staying ahead of the curve is really crucial for any project's long-term success.
For sure.
And one of the key challenges for Scroll, and really for any layer 2 solution, is finding that right balance between scalability, security, and decentralization.
Yeah, it sounds like a bit of a juggling act.
It is.
Because they can't compromise on security. But they also need to be able to handle a massive influx of users and transactions if they want to achieve that goal.
Absolutely.
Of bringing billions of people to Ethereum.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And that's why Scroll's approach to security is so interesting. Because they're not just relying on the inherent security of Ethereum. They've built in those additional layers of protection. So their use of zero-knowledge proofs, combined with those rigorous auditing practices, and a transparent development process that gives users a really high degree of confidence in the platform's security.
So a multifaceted approach to security.
Exactly.
Okay, now what about user experience?
Yeah.
How easy is it for someone who's not a blockchain expert to use Scroll?
Yeah, because if they want to bring billions of people to Ethereum,
Good
it
deal.
can't just be for the tech-savvy crowd, right?
Right.
Usability is key for mainstream adoption.
Yeah.
And Scroll seems to have recognized that from the start.
Okay.
Their website and documentation are really well designed,
Okay.
easy to navigate even for beginners.
Great.
And they also have a very active and helpful community
Okay.
on platforms like Discord and Telegram,
Oh, nice.
which can be incredibly valuable
Yeah.
for new users who are just getting their feet wet.
Yeah, a supportive community can make a huge difference
It can.
when you're learning something new,
Huge difference.
especially in the sometimes intimidating world of blockchain.
For sure.
Let's go back to Scroll's roadmap for a minute.
Okay.
You mentioned some upgrades and improvements
Yeah.
that they're planning.
Yeah.
What are some of the key things they're focusing on?
So they've already implemented some really important upgrades like EIP 4844,
Okay.
which helps reduce those transaction costs by
Right.
using this technique called data blobs.
Okay.
But they're not stopping there.
Okay.
They have some pretty ambitious plans
Okay.
to further optimize performance, reduce those gas fees,
Right.
and enhance that overall user experience.
Yeah.
So, for example, they're working on a Rust-based sequencer,
Right.
which is expected to significantly improve efficiency and speed.
Okay, I'm sensing a theme here.
What's that?
Continuous improvement.
Yeah.
Always pushing forward. It seems like they're really committed
They are.
to staying ahead of the curve and delivering on their promises.
For sure.
Now, let's not forget about the team behind Scroll.
Yeah.
Who are the people driving this innovation?
Well, Scroll has assembled a team of incredibly talented individuals,
Okay.
experienced developers, researchers, entrepreneurs,
Right.
with a deep understanding of blockchain technology
Okay.
and a shared vision for its future.
It's reassuring to hear
It is.
that there are brilliant minds working behind the scenes.
Yeah, a lot of brain power going into this.
Yeah. But are they just focused on those technical aspects?
Right.
Or is there a bigger picture, a larger purpose
It's a good question.
driving them?
From what I've gathered from their blog posts and interviews,
Yeah.
they seem to be driven by a genuine desire
Right.
to make blockchain technology more accessible and beneficial
Oh.
to everyone.
I like that.
They see Scroll as a key stepping stone
Right.
towards a more equitable and decentralized future. A future where individuals have more control over their data and their finances.
That's a really inspiring vision.
That is.
It's not just about building a cool technology.
Right.
It's about using that technology
Yeah,
to make a positive impact on the world.
exactly.
Now, we've talked a lot about the positive aspects of Scroll,
We have.
and rightfully so.
Yeah,
But it's important to acknowledge that no project is perfect.
of course.
So what are some of the challenges or potential drawbacks
Right.
that Scroll needs to address?
Well, one of the biggest challenges, as we touched upon earlier,
Yeah.
is achieving greater decentralization.
Okay.
While Scroll has made significant progress,
Right.
certain aspects of their network,
Yeah.
particularly the sequencing process,
Right.
are still relatively centralized.
Right.
And this raises concerns about potential vulnerabilities
Right.
and could limit Scroll's ability to fully realize the benefits
Yeah.
of a truly decentralized system.
So it's a balancing act.
It is.
They need to find ways to decentralize further
Right.
without sacrificing security or efficiency.
Exactly. And it's not an easy task,
No, it's not.
but it's a challenge that they're acutely aware of.
Okay.
And they've outlined plans to address it in their roadmap. So
Oh.
they're exploring different approaches,
Uh-huh.
including the use of distributed validator technology,
Okay.
to make that sequencing process more decentralized and resilient.
Sounds like they have their work cut out for them.
That you do.
But it's encouraging to know that they're actively working on solutions.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that Scroll is still a relatively young project.
Okay.
In a rapidly evolving space.
All right.
So there will inevitably be bumps along the road.
For sure.
But their willingness to acknowledge challenges and adapt to changing circumstances
Yeah.
is a really positive sign.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've explored the technical intricacies of Scroll.
Yeah.
It's impressive traction.
Yeah.
It's ambitious roadmap.
Right.
And the team's vision for the future.
Yep.
But before we wrap up, I want to go back to those on-chain attestations.
Yeah, they are fascinating, aren't they?
They are.
It's a cool concept.
And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on their broader implications.
Okay.
What kind of impact could they have on society as a whole?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
And it's one that deserves careful consideration.
for sure.
On-chain attestations really have the potential
Wow.
to revolutionize the way we verify information
Right.
and build trust in the digital world.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where you can prove your identity, your
Right.
credentials, even your reputation,
Okay.
without having to rely on centralized authorities or intermediaries.
That sounds incredibly empowering.
It does, doesn't it?
But what about the potential for misuse?
Right.
Could this technology be used to discriminate against certain groups
Yeah.
or create new forms of exclusion?
Those are valid concerns, and it's crucial that we address them proactively.
Right.
As with any powerful technology,
Yeah.
there's always the potential for misuse.
Right?
That's why it's so important to have these open and honest conversations about the ethical implications of on-chain attestations
Right.
and to develop safeguards, regulations that protect individual rights and freedoms.
So it's not just about the technology itself,
Right.
but about how we use it
Exactly.
and the values we embed in its development and deployment.
Very well said.
And that's why Scroll's commitment to transparency, community involvement, and ethical considerations is so encouraging.
It is.
It seems like they understand that building a better future requires more than just technical innovation.
Right.
It requires a thoughtful and responsible approach
Absolutely.
that prioritizes human well-being.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, it sounds like we've reached the end
Yeah.
of our deep dive into the world of Scroll.
It has been a journey.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It has.
And I feel like I've gained a much deeper understanding
Me too.
of this ambitious project
For sure.
and its potential impact.
Yeah, definitely.
I hope our listener feels the same way.
I hope so too.
Yeah, it really has been quite the journey,
It has.
exploring everything from the nuts and bolts of zkEVM to the potential societal impact of on-chain attestations.
Right. And we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah, in a good way, though.
In a good way.
But before we let our listeners' head explode
Right.
from all this information, let's try to distill everything we've learned into some key takeaways.
Sounds good.
So what are the essential things
Yeah.
to remember about Scroll?
Okay, so first and foremost, Scroll is all about making Ethereum more scalable, affordable, and accessible.
Right.
And they're doing that through their innovative use of zkEVM technology,
Okay.
which allows them to process those transactions off-chain,
Right.
but still maintain the security and compatibility of the Ethereum mainnet.
So it's like getting the speed boost
Exactly.
without sacrificing security or decentralization.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, perfect. And they've been very strategic
I have.
about building out their ecosystem.
Yeah.
I mean, they fostered a robust DeFi ecosystem
Right.
with impressive metrics.
Yeah.
Like close to $800 million in total value locked.
Huge.
And they've also become the leading platform for on-chain attestations.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Right.
Opening up this whole new world of possibilities for verifying information
For sure.
and building trust in the digital world.
And let's not forget about those partnerships.
Yeah.
Especially the one with EtherFi.
Right.
Led to the creation of a Scroll Visa card.
Yeah, that's a game changer.
Yeah, that's huge in terms of mainstream adoption.
Absolutely it is.
But what I find most compelling is their commitment to continuous improvement and innovation.
Yeah, their roadmap.
Their roadmap is packed.
It was packed.
With ambitious plans.
Yeah, for sure.
To further optimize performance.
Right.
Decentralize their network.
Absolutely.
And explore new frontiers in blockchain technology.
It's really impressive.
Now, as we wrap up,
Yeah.
it's important to remind our listener that while Scroll shows immense promise, it's still a relatively young project.
It is.
In a rapidly evolving industry.
That's right.
So it's crucial to approach any emerging technology with a healthy dose of critical thinking.
Absolutely.
And a willingness to learn and adapt as things evolve.
Very much so.
So don't just jump on the bandwagon blindly.
Right.
Do your own research. Stay informed.
Yeah.
Consider the potential risks and rewards.
For sure.
Because the beauty of the blockchain space is that it empowers individuals to take control of their own financial destinies.
It does.
But with great power comes a great responsibility.
It does.
It's up to each of us to educate ourselves.
Right.
Make informed decisions and contribute to building a more equitable and decentralized future.
Very well said. I couldn't agree more.
I think we've equipped our listeners with a solid understanding of Scroll,
Yeah.
its potential, and the factors to consider as they navigate this exciting new world.
I hope so. It's been a pleasure diving deep into this topic with you.
Likewise. And a huge thank you to our listener
Yes, thank you.
for providing us with such fascinating source material.
Yeah,
We've thoroughly enjoyed exploring the world of Scroll,
it's been fun.
and we hope you have too.
Yes, and until next time, stay curious,
Yes.
keep learning, and never stop exploring the ever-evolving world of blockchain.
That's a wrap.